Thank you. Also, captions are available for everyone to enable if anyone needs captions. Cool. Well, welcome everyone to the August talk for the data facing track of CARC. If you have not been to a CARC call before, CARC is the Campus Research Computing Consortium, and it's a community of practice for research, computing, and data professionals. It has kind of two arms. There's the People Network, which is kind of like a year-round conference that has calls on different topics every month. And then we also have working and interest groups, which are groups of people in the community working on specific deliverables, such as, for example, we have come up with the job family matrix that has given some suggested language for job descriptions for different research, computing, and data careers. And with that, I will introduce our speaker today. Xueyun Mary Ho Metcalf is an associate professor at Florida State University School of Information. Her research and publications are in trusted human-computer interaction with a focus on detecting computer-mediated deception and deepfake. Her research raises global awareness of complex problems in cyber defense and ethics in the adoption of machine learning and artificial intelligence. Her recent work has been funded by U.S. Air Force, developing an AI platform that utilizes RCC resources to detect deepfake photographic images. She has a website where you can find more information about Veracity AI and a free trial. And there's also a link to her profile in the call talk. With that, I shall turn it over for the talk.
Great. Thank you, Deb, for the introduction. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me today. As Deb introduced, I am from Florida State University, the School of Information, and I'm also the founder of the iSensor Lab. My research interests are largely focused on the trusted human-computer interactions and how it impacts societies. So any research topics, they covered cybersecurity, privacy, and ethics, and narrowly focused on the deception, deepfake, insider threats. Cyberbullying is also one of the research that I'm working on, as well as cyber forensics. I'm going to move the slide to the next one. Okay, good. So today I'm going to share one of my recent studies. This talk is based on a short paper recently presented at the ACM SIG-MIS Computer and People Research Conference in June that was held in Pomona, California. And this part of the talk is also based on a machine learning project to detect deepfake images. As you know, that it was funded by Air Force over the past 2 years, and we recently completed the project. So my agenda today for today's presentation covers 3 points. First, I would like to discuss the significance of AI adoption in society. With the many possible applications of AI, how do we evaluate whether the type of AI application adoption and deployment are ethical? I will introduce an ethics framework to evaluate AI adoption. Then I will briefly introduce a research project that utilizes the FSU RCC resources not only to conduct the machine learning research, but also to provide a secure infrastructure for online and mobile users. I will then use this project as an example to evaluate ethics when we think about AI and AI adoption. So there are many positive AI applications, as we know. AI and automations have significantly enriched our lives. Air transportation is one of the many examples of automation and recommendation systems. Our traveling is becoming easier, even with the flight delays and luggage loss. Airline companies can use AI to respond effortlessly. This ensures our comfort in terms of food and lodging, making arrangements by connecting with food delivering apps and ground transportation apps and hotels. So there are many positive AI applications, such as virtual realities in education, training, and entertainment. The combination of drones and Uber to create flying taxi cab, delivering, and autonomous unmanned trucking can be made possible. Or we can simply print 3D print our homes and buildings. And on the lower left-hand corner, you can see that this building was actually printed and launched and currently in Maine. So they provide this comfortable housing through 3D printing. AI can be adopted for clinical research to enhance patient treatments, nursing, and home care. With quick access and the ability to connect and correlate data points and information, AI can help facilitate a doctor's diagnostics. So AI can be adopted for supply chain, manufacturing, real estate, education, you name it. AI has an answer. We all know about the big market entrance of ChatGPT. Perhaps you may also have some personal experience using ChatGPT. ChatGPT can provide search recommendations and can also generate and insert opinions and recommendations. So AI has the potential and the power to change and transform our lives. But as AI can generate and insert opinions, we need to consider if it might be necessary to restrain AI from inappropriately manipulating individuals and the masses. Let's look at the generative AI technology. Like a computer playing a chess game with itself, you can picture and imagine two neural networks competing with each other logically to solve a problem. And always one side always wins. There is always something to be learned and applied to the next competition. So the learning experience is applied to the next iteration of the competition. Machine learning allows millions of learning experiences to take place in short cycles. The goal is to generate algorithms that solve problems. These learning experiences are typically overseen by humans, but at some point, human oversight is no longer needed for the process to continue. And this may be where the real problem begins. So let's look at the generative AI in a glimpse. We start with human intelligence to create artificial intelligence. Machine learning uses neural networks to generate content based on patterns it observes. Generative AI learns the patterns and structure from the input data as the training data. And this generates new structures and patterns with similar characteristics. So generative AI is capable of creating new content in the form of text, images, or other media, such as voice and videos, in response to your textual prompts. It is important to recognize that useful AI may also have unintended consequences. Generative AI can have significant impact, especially in areas that require creativity, authenticity, and precision. For example, in creativity, AI can code and develop systems and computer programs. There are positive things about ChatGPT, but we all know that students can use ChatGPT to write their papers and take tests remotely. With areas that requires authenticity, we know that when countries are communicating with each other, there are lots of delegates. It is easy for men in the middle to confuse the international relations. This can be about military intelligence as well. Legal proceedings also require authenticity. Pictures used in the court of law, these pictures can be manipulated. People can use ChatGPT to write fake articles, and even ChatGPT, we know that from many news that it generates fake content, and this impacts the credibility of journalism. So in manufacturing and logistics, AI can displace labor rather than labor saving. In clinical decision-making, doctors can use AI to make incorrect decisions. So whose fault is it when doctors make incorrect decisions based on false AI output? This is a danger of misdiagnosis that impact the safety of the patients. The air, land, sea transportation requires precision. These decisions are coordinated by AI. So who is responsible when there is a collision in the runway? The widespread adoption of generative AI may result in a longer-term decline in critical thinking and troubleshooting skills as people become dependent on the AI's answers. We saw a general reduction in math skills when numerical calculators became widely available. So we tend to always look for the calculators to help us add up the numbers. And so the troubleshooting and our ability to do these kind of skills may decline. So it is about time we evaluate ethics in AI adoption. Computer and medical fields have adopted and emphasized ethics, but these ethical principles generally are obligation and duty-based utilitarian ethics. These ethics principles are contextual-based and dependent on professional practices, such as thou shalt not do certain things. So these are based on thou shalt not do certain things and based on the rule. So these are rule-based decisions. Floridi, in his proposal, in several articles he published, proposed a new ethics paradigm for AI adoption with 4 principles. So AI can achieve autonomous self-actualization, such as seeking truth without devaluing human capabilities. AI can enhance human capability without eliminating human responsibilities. AI can also increase social capabilities without reducing human controls. AI can also foster social cohesion without diminishing the dignity of humans in the existing social structure. Therefore, in our paper, we proposed the current research framework. This research framework is based on Hassensoll's user experience model in both published in both 2003 and 2008, as well as Floridi's work on ethics paradigm. This framework, should I go back here? Yes. Help us to identify the intent of ethical technology development and adoption, and also further to justify, to understand and justify the positive social impact. So this framework, I will use the Air Force research project as an example to help us understand how to apply and evaluate AI adoption with these ethics principles. Okay, Veracity AI is a research project, but it has the objective to disclose truth against adversarial deepfake photographic image manipulation. Our study utilizes the RCC high performance computing infrastructure in 2 stages, as well as with 2 purposes. First, we train the image manipulation detection machine learning models. And second, we provide online users the opportunity to analyze their photographic image using machine learning models in near real time. And the iSensor server, as you see in the middle, that was called the iSensor 61 server, that is located and maintained by the College of Communication and Information by our support staff. That is securely connected to the backend HPC. And this is what you see here is a simplified user experience client-server architecture, allowing online users to use web interface or mobile app to interact and experience the machine learning image analysis in near real time. And we can discuss this if there is questions about this architecture. So the project was originated by the US Air Force because its mission is to identify fake images, such as the fake landscape weapon, such as the fake aircraft on the upper right-hand corner that you see, and the satellite images for military intelligence. Pictures can also be used to destroy individuals, organizations, and nation states. manipulated images can be effective in creating scandal, extortion, defamation, and insurance fraud. Deepfake images can be used for identity theft, sexual exploitation, reputational damage, ridicule, intimidation, as well as harassment. Social media and online message boards create endless opportunities for misinformation and disinformation. We see from here, information is being manipulated and changed subtly on this image, and you can see the difference based on the analysis of our model. Because everyone has a smartphone, much more business is being transacted using photography these days. The insurance industry, for example, relies on submitted photos to make payout decisions that were previously made in the field by insurance adjusters. So a homeowner that wants a new roof has significant incentive to provide fraudulent pictures. Here is a little bit of the Veracity AI demo. I'm not so sure if I was able to jump us the screen right into the actual site, but if you go to veracity.cci.fsu.edu, right now you will be able to see what we see here on this demo, but you will be able to see it live. Veracity basically is a study of three manipulation techniques: splicing, inpainting, and copy move. So there are the process of inserting a region of an image into another image, or removing the region, or copy the region from the same image and paste it onto another region of the same image. And this here is the deep learning model. And this is what we trained using the HPC environment. We have the high confidence of all these 5 models we trained, and using the deep consensus, the ensembled approach to provide expert opinions to our online users. And here we documented the developers' progress on the web interface as well as the mobile app. Based on the timeline, you can see that this is a very recent project. We have the iOS version submitted to the Apple App Store, currently under review. I think as of today, it is just approved. So it will be very quickly available, but you can download the Android version from right on here. This is indicating that it's from the iSensor research, and we have our support developers information right here. If you click on the Try Me, you can sign up a user account, and you will be able to upload the images for being checked by the machine learning models that will utilize the FSU RCC resources. So it will get you into the dashboard, and I can show you a couple of the images. For example, this girl over by the sea, we think it's pretty authentic, even it has the shallow over above the, on the sand ground. But this system gives you opportunities to download the original image as well as the mask, the analysis results. So you can see the model, we have 5 models plus the number 61, and that was that's currently we use this to house different machine learning models to provide the assembled approach. So here it gives the user the ability to overlay the original image plus the mask analysis results to give user a very easy understanding of where, based on the model, the possible places that have been manipulated. So here, not only the girl by the seashore is manipulated, but you can see that the bird is also use the copy move, flip over, copy move approach to manipulate the image. So here the demo just to show you the results, the analysis results from different machine learning model. And easily you can get into the dashboard by clicking on the user profile. On the upper right-hand corner, you can check out other the pictures. So we tried, this is a test, the test version. So we try different pictures, and so based on these fake photographic manipulation, the systems is able to identify the regions, the area that has been manipulated. So you can see that the black area means that they are not manipulated, but the areas we overlay it, it will show the original picture. So to give user a very quick experience and understanding of the image of the manipulated area. I would like to see if there is any questions here. So basically, here is just a bunch of the demonstrations showing the research work. I think I was clicking on the some of the small popes. You can see from the pope's image, from this one you cannot see it, but the pope was holding an apple, and that was a very small manipulation. Such as this sign, it was Black Lives Matter, and it was replaced with All Lives Matter. With a small modification, and the system is able to provide expert opinions in near real time. Okay, I think this is the last image I'm showing in this demo, and that it is an image of a Jeep dragging the entire rocket, and which it is, of course, not possible. So there are many of these photographs that we can upload and check, and I encourage you all to check it out for your own experience. And I do have some feedback. One was my friend. Okay, so if I can jump over to the next. Oh, yes. One was my friend from Amazon AWS, and he did fake some image, and that was a pretty interesting results. So to come back, to the proposed framework. In addition to fulfilling the pragmatic objective and hedonic subjective needs, Veracity AI can achieve autonomous self-actualization in terms of seeking the truth, and as you can see from the demo, without devaluing the human capability. So you can also see that Veracity AI enhance human capability without eliminating human responsibilities, right? And Veracity AI increase the social capabilities as we all are able to identify the real images without reducing human controls. And Veracity AI can foster social cohesion without diminishing the dignity of humans in the existing social structures. So this is just one illustration to evaluate ethics in AI adoption. So this is the end of my talk, and I really appreciate you here. Let me know if there are any questions. Thank you.
We do have a few questions in the doc already. One was to clarify, it sounds like the iOS app might appear today, correct?
Oh, pardon me, can you repeat?
It sounds like the iOS app for Veracity will appear today.
Oh
Excellent.
yes, I got the app Apple App Store. It says that it's approved, so it should be available right now. But I need to talk to the developers as to, do we still need to do anything for approval, or it's completely safe? I think you can go to the App Store to search Veracity AI.
Oh, and someone put a note that there is another app called Veracity, but not the same one. Veracity
Yeah.
AI.
Okay, yeah. So well, there is a logo. So well, this is just a research project. So we haven't claimed much of everything. So we just want to share the research outcome and the artifact with everyone. So yes, maybe there is, I think the website, there is a website called Veracity. Yeah.
Cool. And then another one, can you elaborate a little on deal model architecture?
Oh, yes. So how about this architecture?
I believe so.
And
Okay.
yeah, let me clarify. Actually, I meant the deep learning architecture model. So I don't know if you can elaborate, but can you elaborate what kind of deep learning models you're using?
Yes, we have actually throughout this past 2 years, we went through mostly major universities and the research papers and available some of the models and network architectures available from GitHub. So we tested in the HPC environment, so everything was online. So that includes a lot of the DARPA research funded projects, Metronet, for example. Right now on top of my head, I don't remember everything, but we kind of reviewed about more than 50 models, but about 150 papers to derive this results. So the outcome we use is the CatNet. We find that the CatNet model is very good. So we use it to train based on the data sets that we identified. So there are a set of data sets we use, and the data sets includes the copy move in painting and splicing, these techniques. So it has very high precision and high confidence. So all the entire research is done on HPC, and also there is a recent published model called MVSSNet. It was reviewed by Harvard University. We tried it, and it did not. If you go to this one that's that I presented, hopefully I can get us to there. Okay. Some of this, the model number 6 did not really give us the good performance. So that was based on MVSSNet. But the rest are based on the CatNet. I think.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, good.
Cool. And then another question, are there issues with calling it truth? Wouldn't it be better to call what Veracity does as identify unaltered images or identify altered parts of an image?
Right, yes. So I think most of you can probably identify that it's not so much the truth, but originally when during the phase 1 of the STTR grant, that was our rough idea. But of course, it is too broadly defined. So yes, we should focus it more on the photographic images. And for example, the AI generated images are not part of what we studied because they are not included in the training data sets. And but those images are less concerned based on our original objectives. But this also gives our project the future direction, which we should also looking into the images generated by generative AI. But currently only we look at the photographic images. They're not including the screenshots. I gave this system, I designed some exercises for my students, and you know how the students, they think of an image, they just make a screenshot. So if you look at this, screenshot it and send it to the Veracity AI, it will not be able to detect that. So we have a very focused research objectives, starting from the photograph images, and to look at this. So there are lots of limitations. So they are included for our future research.
I have a question. Are we still reading from the other questions?
Nope, we're all done.
You had a very provocative title. What do you mean by the end of human wisdom?
So it is basically in the critical thinking part. I think in the paper we discussed that very detailed, but in the presentation I kind of walk us through that part in a way that the human is trying to learn, but the learning process is being replaced by artificial intelligence, and it replaces humans' ability to do critical thinking. So in a way, if we adapt the AI in education, and if we don't incorporate if we adapt artificial intelligence and to replace teachers in K-12, then it will have a situation where students will have hard time discerning what is artificial and what is authentic. And so in a way that critical thinking, troubleshooting abilities is being gradually reduced in multiple ways. So, and then there are multiple problems that I see. So it is very positive in a way that we use AI, but also it is also very dangerous.
But why you say I'm not sure if I understand the end of wisdom. I use generative AI. It's interesting you brought the education. I've been using it for months teaching university courses, and all it's done is really enhance and accelerated my ability to improve student outcomes. It's been a godsend, and the answers that come from generative AI are usually as good or better than me. I've been a professional scientist for 30 years, and I consider myself an expert in my field, and it's great. It works wonderful. So it's almost like, I mean, is it the end of wisdom, or is it the enhancement of wisdom?
Well, I can use one example. That's a great question, Alex. I can use one example which happened recently. For example, we are writing articles, and to train students to write something original, for example, to write an introduction, instead of student writing it themselves to compose their own thoughts, they quickly reference ChatGPT, copy paste the information into the paper and submit it as the outcome. So there is a danger. When I was reading the paper, it looks great, and yet I had hard time understanding the entire content or the purpose of the writing. So I think if students begin to adapt these kind of thinking and writing style, and so instead of being very focused writing, but the writing becomes big words, great sentences, but the objectives are not being practiced in their critical thinking and writing.
Thank you.
Actually, do you mind if I continue along on that thought? Alex, I wanted to ask you a question. Are you the person who's using it to help with the grading, or something else in your course? And do you actually, when you begin the class, do you have a contract with the students about how the AI is going to be used? Or like, in the sense, like, do you put the test to them to say, we still need critical thinking, and you can use this powerful tool, but there's an expectation that you're not going to defer the work of learning to this tool, but you still need to do this work?
Yeah, so I have no contract. I use AI as a teaching assistant. It's actually, I mean, it has a persona and all that kind of stuff. And so that I have no contract with my human TAs or my AI TAs. They're just there to facilitate learning and answer questions. And so I've seen, like, interactions with the AI through, we use it in Discord. We had it plug into Discord, and the people would be asking me questions in Discord and asking the AI agent. And the AI agent was giving, as good or better answers sometimes than me. If somebody's copying, like using AI to make a report and paste, that's cheating and unethical. But learning facts is not unethical to me. So that's how I use it. I haven't used it for grading or anything like that, but there's definitely a lot of potential there. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, think I was also thinking about like a conversation with the students in the class. Like
Yeah.
you mentioned the contract, I didn't mean like an employment contract or something like that, but just with the students that they know that they don't want to defer their own learning to a tool because they, as our speaker said, they still need the critical thinking skill. I mean, I'm just thinking I'm
Yeah.
going to take a class in the spring and I want to have a conversation on day one about how we're going to use this tool. Because I know it's not going to go away, right?
Well,
Mhm.
do you have a conversation with your students how to use Google search?
No, and that's an interesting point. But as a librarian who's teaching a class, I'm really trying to encourage them to use library databases over Google. So we do kind of mention all those other resources that are there. I mean, I kind of refer to it as you choose your haystack. Do you want the biggest haystack in the world, or do you want a much more nicer curated haystack? And maybe that's what ChatGPT is doing as well, or these other tools.
So, but I'd kind of like to follow up on that, because that was kind of my intent behind this speaker today is the thing about generative text models like this, like ChatGPT, is they're not actually trained on right or wrong information. They're just trained on forming sentences. So there isn't a guarantee that AI in your class will always give out correct information. And that's kind of the whole crux of AI for me is like, if you're going to use it, you need to understand like what it's actually doing. All ChatGPT is forming grammatically correct sentences.
That's very true. I totally agree with Deb. And that was my experience seeing the students submitted assignments, grammatically correcting every possible way, but it was only 3 paragraphs. It was hard for me to really tell what was writing, what was the content about. And I had to reference with other professors to make sure that I was not going crazy, not being able to understand what the assignments, submitted assignments was.
And I would also just like to be very clear, like, I think AI can definitely enhance a lot of things. It's just you have to be very careful about like trusting it, for lack of a better word.
I just jump. I'm extremely careful about that when I'm using it in my class, right? And because I mean, I'm the instructor and I say things wrong, probably about as much as my agent does. And so I'm an expert. I evaluate what I see, and it's beautiful. And it's all about prompt engineering, and we revalidate all the references and the in the back end, and so we have little if any hallucinations. It works. I just am sort of taking the other side of the two-bladed sword. That AI has been absolutely fantastic and transformative in me as a educator at the high school and at the university levels. It's been fantastic, and that's with incredible caution and it's great. It works great. It's a wonderful tool. But cheating, cheating is cheating. People using different technologies to cheat, that sucks. That's awful. I hate when humans do that. But learning new facts and learning esoteric knowledge that's only in the head of somebody who's been doing it for 30 years, that the large language models pull out instantly it's transformative for research and education in my experience.
So what Alex said and what Shun said, or in my mind, are not contradicting. They are just like, I think when we come to education, we'll have to really target the audience. So my son is in middle school. So one of his assignment is to read the 3 papers and then, summarize each paper and then come up your own idea, like, and then put them together and write your own summary of what the pro and cons of a certain topic, like a genetic, basically a GMO. So I said, okay, I'm gonna try with the Chat GPT, and so I put the article in, and then every time, like, it's good. Even with reading individual paper, it I read it multiple times. It tend to repeat itself and then quite limited. And then when you're actually trying to put all the things together and then, putting my thought when I read the paper, that's like, I consider it's a completely failure. So it's great. I think it's the advantages of using it to teach facts. That's, that's wonderful. But also, if we let the, especially K2 students to actually K12 students, like, to get into the habit of having some other things to read and write their papers for them. So yeah, the ability for them to critical thinking is gonna diminish. So we really have to in terms of teaching, we have to be conscious, like we have to change our assignment basically to force them to think, I think.
I've seen a lot of garbage coming out across my desk in the last 16 years of teaching from Google. Of people taking Google search from a genomics perspective is really not a very effective. It's so diluted in the information you get, and people just will copy and paste or paraphrase garbage, and it comes from Google. I don't think it's any different. I just think, Chad, that the stuff that's coming out of generative AI is much cleaner. If the prompts have to be engineered properly, it's not just about writing a question. It's about what's on the back end.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I formally teach prompt engineering to my students. That's what I'm doing in 2 weeks. I'm teaching that. How do you do that? We do a lot of that in the back end. I'll be quiet.
No, yeah, that's I completely agree.
Oh. We did have one last question. That we might not have time.
I have a question, if I may. So GPT-4 was tested for some specialties in medical board certification exams, and it passed, especially GPT-4. GPT 3.5 was not as good, but 4 seemed to perform fairly well. So I just wonder what you think about it in terms of, like, what does it mean that it passed medical board certification exam? I mean, what do you think the implications are for something like that?
I am not in that area. So much how it passes some of the standards by the medical board. But I think it is to provide a very focused consultation in the output that can help with some of the decisions, and they are accurate decisions based on perhaps the clinical data, and that can be generalizable. And therefore, based on those decisions across the board, to look at certain areas that they might pass the precisions as a consultant, an expert's opinion. So before artificial intelligence, we have recommendation systems, experts systems, and all these. I think they are able to provide precise outcomes. So I think in that sense, it has passed the medical board in that standard. That's my brief interpretation of this, but again, I am not in this area, so I'm not so sure. And maybe others can contribute some thoughts into this.
Well, somebody replied that there is more about the exam than the AI. And that is exactly why I ask this question, right? Because these are like certificate, like you can practice medicine without being board certified, right? So that is kind of a next level. And board certification exams often I mean, depending on the specialty, but they combine both some kind of text that presents clinical data, but also images like in radiology. And the most recent test with GPT-4 for radiology also performed well. So which is a step that was not as good before. So I guess my question was not so much how it's done, but when we talk about like education or exams or what people do, we assume that we test human to a certain level. You started with this, right? Critical thinking. And if we use AI, then the critical thinking might diminish for humans, not for AI. So, but we still want humans. So the question is, how do we test if AI is capable of doing what we consider to be a higher standard for humans? Then maybe we should teach humans differently. Maybe the tests themselves should change. Maybe it's not the way to test humans, because as this last message, I mean, the response is that it's not all about exams, and I totally agree with this. And that's kind of the way why I ask this question. Like maybe we should reconsider how we evaluate humans.
Mm-hmm. That's a great point. Thank you, Anna.
I am on board with that.
Well, thank you. It's a great presentation. Thank you very much.
All right, it is the top of the hour, folks. Thanks for joining, but I think we will close out for today.